How's it going, guys? This is Joel from Dog Theory, and today we're going to continue the playthrough of Disastr Blastr, and we're going to do World 3. So we've got the first two levels cleared. This is the boss of World 1, this is the boss of World 2, and today we're going to play right up the edge here, and we're going to hit up the boss of World 3, starting with this level right here. I've tried to keep these playthrough videos pretty short, like maybe 15 minutes, and I'm going to do my best not to die a ton and take a really long time here. This might be a slightly longer video just because I'm going to play more levels on this one, so I'm going to say I will shoot for maybe, optimistically, maybe like 18-20 minutes on this video, so hope you guys can hang with me. I'm going to show some levels here that I really haven't showed before too much. The boss, the World 3 boss I have shown before in several different videos. It happens to be like one of my favorite bosses in the game, but you're going to see some other levels that I noticed that most players, when they will check this game out at like an expo, they're going to go to the bosses. Never underestimate the power of a nice glowing box with like a nice glow effect around it. That will just attract everyone right to that level. So when somebody puts their hands on the controller and they grab this game and they play it the first time, they're going to gravitate right to those boss levels, and those are ones that I did actually do an entire video just on bosses. Like, those have been pretty well explored as far as exposure on YouTube and me playing them. Other levels, though, there are over 100 levels in the game, and a lot of them, like, you may not have seen. Like, maybe you just haven't gotten that far in the game, or like you just took a different path, whatever the case is. We're going to look at a few today that, like, I tried to make every level very unique, not to kind of just recycle the same, like, level setups with different enemies that are harder. I mean, to some extent, like, the enemy configurations that are in levels are, like, the variety, but in other ways, like, the level setup itself is a little bit unique with just the space and how things scroll, and so I want to show you guys some of the sort of innovative level design in Disastr Blastr that you might not have seen before. This is a level that I really enjoy. It is a free-moving exploration maze-type layout, and we're looking for these 3 red target blocks. This is one that players have, I've seen them run out of time. It's not really a huge level, but it kind of feels maybe bigger than it is, and it's a maze with dead ends and like looping, like areas where you can go in circles. So this is one that this was actually one of the very earliest level design for this game, and it's one that I especially like enjoy playing this, and players I think have said basically, wow, it's such a huge level, I've just gotten lost in here, and I can see that. If you look at the whole thing, like if you printed it out on paper, you'd think, oh, that's very small and it's very simple, but it just feels, it has open space and just kind of feels big. So this is one that I enjoy. And because I know exactly where to go here, it probably won't take me long to clear through this unless I make a horrible mistake. So there you go, 3 targets destroyed, level cleared. This is still in World 1, so we're starting, like, the lower left corner of the board, which you'll see right here is the beginning of the game. And we're going vertically up the edge from World 1 directly into World 3. So it's a non-linear game. The layout of worlds is not linear. I think this may still be World 1 that we're in, but after this we're going to be breaking up into World 3. So depending on which direction you go, you really can you can very quickly enter a territory that's quite difficult, depending on where you venture on the board. This is another one, like, I particularly like this level. I think it's one of the more challenging World 1 stages. It is a vertical speed corridor, and it's full of these breaker enemies and blockers, so the temptation here is to try to shoot everything in your way and, score a huge combo. That can sort of hurt you because you can create a mess in front of yourself that you're unable to sort of move through. Oh no, that was terrible. So players have told me that this stage is impossible. The word used to describe this stage is, it's impossible. And while it is pretty difficult, I think the temptation to shoot, to be greedy and to shoot more than you need to is one thing that makes this a little bit more challenging. Also, to try to go for really huge chain combos. Like, if I have this gun, I can try to you know, keep chaining these orange blocks and go for a huge combo, like maybe 90 or 100. That will definitely cost you. It's much more risky to try to do that. Probably staying near the bottom, just kind of avoiding things and shooting what you need to get through is the prescription for clearing this. I remember I was working on... I was trying to do an ultimate high score game, right? I was trying to get the highest score and the biggest combo I could at every level. And this is one I spent forever just trying to get like a large chain and just getting killed because of greed. Like, going after stuff I really didn't need to and creating risk where I really didn't need to. So, you know, it's one of the interesting things about the game is choice of targets. Like, when do you attack? When do you just float by? You know, where, like, a lot of times you can get by without shooting, or you can wisely choose targets and sort of minimize risk to yourself, and that'll allow you to clear levels more. I've seen players basically afraid to shoot. Like, they're like, I'll try not to ever shoot and just see if I can float past everything. And that's, with the way the spawn system works, the level will just fill up with enemies if you don't, like, to a certain point, if you don't shoot things. So, I haven't found that strategy to be especially successful for myself. I tend to just keep my thumb on the thumbstick and blast the entire time. I really am the type of player that wants to go for chain combos too, so I'll try to get a large chain combo anytime it's there. I'll pretty much go for that. Okay, died a couple times there. The impossible level is now cleared, and that's it for World 1. Just those 3 stages are kind of the upper boundary, and we're going to move up into World 3. This is actually the very first level I designed for World 3, and it's got a new enemy that you may not have seen before. It's kind of a blue guy with 3 little blue shields that float around him, and the name of this enemy is Flector. Obviously it's a triangle, and it reflects bullets, so what you're going to do is aim for the middle. The middle can be damaged, the little shields cannot, and they can reflect your shots at you, so... Oh, these guys are quite a devious enemy, and defensive. Like, this style of enemy which is defensive is tends to be one of the more challenging enemy types. I'm gonna try the laser weapon. I think this is gonna work the best. Very narrow, linear type weapons normally work well. They don't... Flector doesn't take a lot of shots to destroy. You can pretty much crush him with one well-placed laser shot if you can hit the middle. You might also notice some of the bullets that come out of these guys are large. They're like large, fast bullets. When an enemy bullet goes through the center, these guys act like a lens. Like, it will amplify, accelerate and amplify the bullet that goes through the center. So if I hit a shield that's like on the back end of this guy and it reflects its own bullet through its center, I'll get a faster, larger shot coming my way, which can really... There was one. That can really trip you up, and it makes these guys even more deadly than normal. Like, normally an enemy that reflects shots is hardcore, but they're extra wicked, gnarly, hard. So, okay, here's the exit. I'm just gonna roll through here. So there you have an introduction to one of the enemies that is kind of a signature enemy in World 3. You see them throughout the game in various different levels, but it's one that, like, I didn't want to overuse. They're so dangerous that, like, a few places I thought about putting them into a level or had them in a level and decided, like, it's hard enough. Like, it really doesn't need Flector flying around causing problems for you. So this is another one. You may, if you guys have seen Nathaniel Bandy's How Will Nathaniel Rage featuring this game, you've seen this level. This is one that, like, he actually, after raging out, like, completely losing his mind, he does actually clear this level and is, oh man, that's terrible. And he's successful and, like, very happy about clearing it. So if you guys haven't checked out that video on YouTube, you really should watch it. It's super funny. But anyway, this is one that is a tidal scrolling layout. So the screen will scroll vertically upward, and then it will pause briefly, and then it will scroll downward, and then upward and downward again. So you get this kind of flow to the exploration where you've got to more or less stick with the movement of the screen as you explore left and right, looking for these hidden treasures. To be wise, I'm going to try to break all of the available blocks that I can find as I move to the right here and not miss any. You're free to go anywhere and explore where you want, but you know, if I go to the right and start randomly like shooting these things away, oh, there's one I missed. It's possible I might overlook something, and then, you know, I'll have to come back later when I'm low on time to try to figure out what I missed. So I found a disciplined approach, kind of figuring out where they are and proceeding from left to right works better in this level for me than just kind of randomly going around hitting whatever I can. Now, there were some up there that I didn't get to. Here's one. Okay, and I saw another one down here. You guys will notice that the green things flying around here have this little... They're almost like a transparent ghost type enemy that has a little focal point in the middle, kind of like an eye. And if I shoot through this guy, my bullets will ghost right through him. But if I hit the eye, that's how I can damage him. So these are one of the, like, as with the Flector, they're one of the complex enemies that is a combination of multiple sprites that sort of contribute to like the composition of this enemy. And these are some of the trickier ones to design, but also some of the more interesting, like, rewarding enemies to fight against in Disastr Blastr. So I'm going to try to get through this gap. Okay. One of the cool things in this level you might see is the interaction between the pink bullet shooting enemies and these green container enemies. If the pink bullet hits the eye, they will actually spawn more breaker fragments. So they can sort of, I mean, they have this kind of defensive capability of avoiding your shots by the little eye moving around. Like, they take up a lot of space, but they're hard to hit, which is kind of an interesting flavor of enemy, and they have this ability to spawn more little fragments to get in your way. This gets really crazy when you... Oh no! Sniped! When you've got snipers that fire multiple bullets and you've got a bunch of these green guys around, they can soak up a whole string of bullets and they'll just spit out a massive wave of like enemy bounty blocks in your face. That can get real interesting when you're in areas with like confined spaces. If you're trying to move through small spaces and you're flooded with tons of like little... I'll see if I can get him to do it here. If I can get this guy to fire, it'll create for me so you can see how they spawn little enemies there. It can be a pain. They can cost you, you know, get you killed, but it can also increase your chain combo, so you can use that a lot of times when you have the firepower and you're in a good situation. It can work to your advantage as far as like scoring. So just another one of the interesting kind of random interactions that happens in the game when enemies get together under certain conditions. They can kind of boost each other's powers in interesting ways, which is and to me it's probably one of, if not the coolest things about the design. It's just sort of the random unexpected little twists that you get. There's a lot more going on than just different colored blocks floating around shooting at you, and that's something I like to show off. Pretty proud of like the balance and just how things interact. Almost every enemy that you see in Disastr Blastr has got a couple or three different like abilities it can use depending on conditions and what's going on around it. So it's a little bit like the simplicity is a little bit deceptive. Actually, you can get quite it can become quite chaotic. It's just the random things that can go on in the game. I need to find some blocks to break. There we go, here's a few. Oh, there's a good weapon. Let's get that. Alright, nice. This is one of the rare stages where time pressure is actually kind of a factor. Like, it helps to have a path that you sort of follow through the level, and you know, keep an eye on your clock. It's like you're trying to destroy the blocks as fast as you can to look for the hidden treasures, but they're not always in places where you can immediately hit them. Like, some of them it's inconvenient to hit them like when you're on the way up, or like when you're on the way down. It's maybe harder to hit them then. So anyway, was able to clear that one, and I think we have maybe one more stage to go to the boss. Okay, actually we are at the boss. So this is the World 3 boss. You've seen the little pink bullet shooting sniper enemies. This is like the great giant version of that. And one of my favorite bosses to battle. I've probably recorded more video of this particular boss than like any other boss in the game, just because it's so, there's so much action and it's just so fast fighting this guy. I just really like him. Oh wow, trashed. So my strategy for killing this guy is pretty similar to what I do with most bosses, which is sort of just go right at them, like just try to grab a powerful weapon like the laser and just hit them as hard as I can, like as fast as I can. I could say some different things about the shooting pattern with this guy. He basically shoots bursts of 3, like a randomly generated burst of 3 bullets that may go directly at you or slightly offset from where you are. So sometimes dodging can, like, you can try to dodge and you'll dodge directly into a shot. Anyway, just grab the biggest weapon I can and just rush him and blast him straight away, and that's pretty much the method for that guy. So there you have it. That's Disastr Blastr, at least a glimpse of World 3, and that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys haven't checked this out, this game's on Greenlight. It's been on Greenlight since summer, it's probably been there, I'm going to say maybe 4 months at this point, so, and it's still collecting votes at like a really slow rate. If you guys haven't checked out the Greenlight trailer, definitely check it out. You can buy this game on Xbox 360. It's available on Xbox Live Indie Games for $1. It's on itch.io. It's $2. And hopefully coming soon to Steam. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great time blasting, and we'll catch you guys next time.